What country do you live in? You're from Belarus?
Yeah, something somewhere there,
Okay, that's what I thought.
near to it. Yeah,
And
no one really knows.
how many athletes came out of Hungary this year to go to the CrossFit Games besides
It was
yourself?
me.
You,
Yeah,
one athlete.
yeah.
And how old are you, Laura?
I know. What are these questions? You probably are. You already know. You guessed where I place, where I live. So I'm 24. But
24. Am I not allowed to ask questions that I already know the answers to?
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, of course. But what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? I have to validate and verify.
Okay.
And how many games have you been to?
I would say three, but everyone says four,
And why do
or
you say
like
go
three
ahead.
and a half, or something like that. Like for sure, not four because it didn't go to the fourth, like the third one,
It- in which one are you referring to? You're referring to 2019?
like the last one. Not that happened recently, but the previous, like 2020.
Okay, so you're kind of in the same boat that I am. If you're not in the top 5, then you don't.
Yeah, I don't feel like I mean, I didn't go anywhere. I went to my own gym, so I didn't really go to the games, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
just like
See,
did
Laura,
something.
that proves my point. If I would have just assumed that if I would have just said you went to 4 games and I wouldn't have asked you the question, then I would have never got to the bottom of the fact that you and I are on the same page that really that games doesn't count.
I mean, it counts for those five people, but not the rest of us.
Right. I agree. I agree. Do you agree, Brian?
Laura, if someone finished seventh place on the online version of that year at the games, do you think they can say, "Yeah, I'm a top 10 games athlete"?
No, they are not.
What about if they
Oh
did in
man.
2019?
What do you mean? They did in 2000? Yeah, I guess. Then yes.
Do you want to know a fun statistic about 2019?
Yes.
Well, I've said it before, but Laura's never listened to our podcast, so she's going to hear it for the first time. 19 of the 20 athletes who finished in the top 10 that year, of the 10 men and 10 women that
Yep.
made the final cut, either had their career best finish at the games or tied for career best finish at the games. The only athlete who did not was Katrin David's daughter, and she couldn't because only her or Tia could win.
And that's evidence that you're saying that it's not it's just a bullshit games, Brian?
Now, there have been some athletes who did really well that year in 2019 that have continued to do well in the years since then. But up to that point, when there was nothing else, when we hadn't had 2020 and 2021, 19 of the top 20 athletes, 9 of the top 10 women, and 10 of the top 10 men either matched or exceeded their career best finish at the games, says to me that I don't think that has ever happened before, and I don't think it'll ever happen again. Something was obviously off that year, but we know that.
Not,
Everything was off that year, I guess. So not just that.
I think I figured out. I think I figured out why Laura hasn't done. We're the first podcast
Hmm. Tell me
that we
why.
don't. Because man, you're a handful. You're prickly. You remind me of my friend Dave Castro. You're
Oh no! Please don't.
yes, you do remind me of him. I have to say,
No.
my dear friend Dave Castro.